So I want to talk about healthcare now for a minute here. It's been a big topic in the news over the past few months here. You know, it's really funny because there's really no argument anymore in politics for a free market healthcare system. I mean, the Republicans and the Democrats pretty much have an identical way of looking at it now, where the government has to be heavily involved and heavily regulate healthcare now. Which I think is wrong. I mean, the Republicans probably take a little bit more of a free market stance on it, but the Democrats, are very hardcore into Obamacare and single payer with Bernie Sanders and shit like that. But the thing is, looking at it from Trump's perspective, if he went through and did a healthcare bill that's totally free market, it would never pass. So I mean, it's. You got an establishment Republican Congress in there. So, with Trump, it's you can only do so much if you're Trump, because you have to get shit done, passed through Congress, unless you want to be a dictator like Obama and just pass executive orders all day long. But yeah, I mean, I'm more for a free market healthcare system where there's private companies doing it. Will it be a perfect system? No, it won't. I mean, if you have something that's $1 trillion, I think healthcare is $3.2 trillion here in the United States per year. If you have something that costs that much money, there's going to be problems no matter how you do it. No matter if you do a single payer, no matter if you do it, government is somewhat involved, you're going to have some problems doing it. So I'm more for a single payer, though, because I think you'll have less problems when the government's not involved. When the government's involved, it seems like they fuck everything up. I mean, look at our problems now: our debt, our social security system that's in the toilet, the illegal immigration problem, and many other problems. A failing infrastructure, getting us into wars that have cost trillions of dollars. Government usually fucks things up. And they're corrupt as fuck, too. So when they pass a health care bill, chances are it's only going to benefit the insurance companies and the rich. So I'm more for a private, free market, capitalistic system of healthcare. People talk about, oh, you have a right to healthcare. You have a right to health. No, I do not believe you have a right to healthcare. I mean, I don't believe if you get sick, the government has a right to pay for it if you don't have insurance. So you have I really think that argument is bullshit. Because obviously getting health care is a necessity in life. So is having shelter, having clothing, having food and water. Does the government have a right to buy your food, though? No, it doesn't. It does not have a right to buy your food. You have to provide for your own shit in a capitalistic society. And if we've seen socialism, how much it's failed in places like Venezuela and the Soviet Union. I mean, socialism does not work. It creates laziness. It creates government dependence. I mean, you have to have a free market capitalist system for the most part, where people pay for their own shit. Get a job. Hey, that's a good idea. Get a job. Get health care. Go to school. Get an education. How about that? Don't just sit on your ass all day and do nothing. I mean, get a job. So you could, pay for health care, or get a job with benefits where you could pay for health, where you could get health care for you and your family in the future. I mean, that's what I think the best system is. And the Democrats always say, oh, the uninsured. Well, there is a system called Medicaid and Medicare for poor and elderly people, where all 50 states are part of the Medicaid and Medicare. So I mean, there is a system to pay for the uninsured if you are uninsured. So I mean, when Obamacare passed, we have a system now where all these people who are uninsured are going to be insured. Well, I mean, there's already Medicaid. So I mean, in Obamacare, is even Michael Moore has spoken about how much of a shit insurance Obamacare is, and we've seen the failure of Obamacare with premiums going way up. Democrats are even calling it out, saying it's a failure. Even Bill Clinton spoke out against it. I mean, it's a total failure, and that's how government-run healthcare is going to be, a total failure. I mean, how could you expect a government, which is already, our people are already heavily taxed with the income tax and other taxes. How can you expect, people to pay, more for now a single payer healthcare system? I mean, how much, again, that costs like $3.2 trillion. Oh, Bernie Sanders says just tax the rich, even though the rich are already in the highest tax bracket, paying like 30-some% just with income tax. I mean, how much more are we going to tax them? Bernie Sanders talks about the rich. They already pay most of the fucking taxes, you dumbasses. If you make $400,000, you're paying a shit ton in income tax. It's only the people like George Soros and the top 0.0001% who are, in bed with the government that don't pay taxes. It's not the man who's been successful and has 10 local restaurants who makes $500,000 a year. It's the billionaires who get off, with not paying that much tax. So, the idea that wealthy people don't pay their fair share. Yes, they do. They are in their highest. I'm sorry, I'm yelling about it. I mean, they're in the highest tax bracket. So, total bullshit. So, I'm for a free market where we don't rely on other people to pay for other people's shit. We don't rely on taxpayer money to pay for the poor people. We don't rely on, rich people to give their money to the government so the government could give it to poor people. That's not how it works. Again, that just creates laziness. That's what a $15 minimum wage would create, laziness. And it would also destroy small businesses. I mean, look at small businesses now. A lot of them are going out of business with all the regulations and the high taxes. You know what a $15 minimum wage would do to small businesses? It would further destroy them. I mean, I get there's a wage inequality in this country, but it's not. The answer is not to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It would just not work. And it's not to, again, take the money out of rich people's pockets and give it to the poor. I mean, again, the problem is not with the 1%. It's with like the 0.0001%. So, okay, it's enough talking. Oh, and also, too, the idea of having a pre-existing condition, the idea of pre-existing conditions is also total bullshit. Me as myself, being in college, going into my third year in college, being almost 20 now, I have to pay a higher amount for car insurance. I have to pay $180 a month because statistically teenagers get into more accidents. Now, I've never gotten a ticket. I've never been in an accident, but that's how it works. I have to pay for more. So if you have a pre-existing condition, if you're a fat ass who weighs 300 pounds and has diabetes, you should have to pay more for health care. I mean, that's how car insurance works. If you get a ticket, if you get in an accident, your insurance goes up. Same thing with health care. So fucking dumb. It just makes me mad. I mean, I get that liberals just go off emotion. Oh, people have a right to health care. No, not really. Is that in the Constitution? No. Do people have a right to be fed? No, that you have to buy your own food. Go to the grocery store and buy your own food. So I'm just so fed up with Democrats wanting rich people to pay for everything and wanting everything to be free. Free college, minimum wage up, single payer health care. Just everything is going to be free. That's called communism / socialism, and it doesn't work. Ask Venezuela. Ask the Soviet Union. It does not work, people. It creates, again, it just creates... I mean, it might work for a few years, but a welfare state does not work. It just takes money out of rich people's hands and puts it in poor people's hands. It reduces competition. It reduces motivation to actually go out there and do a good job. And I mean, capitalism is just the best way, in my opinion, for a society to run, where people actually work hard, make a living, and buy their own shit, and don't rely on other people to, you know, buy their own shit. And if people do fall in hard times, there's always things called charities, you know, to help people get back on their feet. And if the government didn't fucking take all our money, you know, I think more people would be willing to give to charities if government didn't fucking take all our money and waste it all the time. So there you go, people. That's enough talking about politics. I mean, it really gets you worked up, and it really gets you ranting. But that's my thoughts there on healthcare. I mean, basically, socialism does not work, and making things free, they're not really free. It's just other people are paying for them, which is basically socialism. It will not work, people. So there you go.